Good morning, students. Previously, we had come to the last part of the chapter Rulers and Buildings. But still, I feel some more details are needed for you. When we move from one part of India to another, we find so many structures, maybe temples, mosques, churches, palaces, tombs, fort, gardens, etc. Now let us go little more details about different styles of architecture that existed in India during the medieval period. We, the students of 7th class, should be knowing important architecture or the world famous structures which were constructed by the human beings in India. We know we have got different styles of constructions. We had discussed the temples in North India. Now we'll just see some of the temples in North India. Those temples I have drawn you the first day, the pictures, the how architecture, the Garbhagriha, Vimana, and the places for the people to sit and enjoy the cultural programs. All those points were discussed by me. I hope you remember it. Now let us come to some of other temples. In Orissa, some of the important structures were constructed in Orissa, Rajasthan and Gujarat. In all these places, some of the important structures were constructed by the rulers of that. So some of them we can see. And they were construct the style of the style is called Nagra style. Nagra style. The Nagra style. Nagra style. Sorry, energy. Nagra style constructions. So some of the important structures of that time, of the Nagra style, are at the Lingaraj temple. Lingaraj temple. One is a Lingaraja temple, then Raja Rani Temple, Raja Rani Temple, the Sun Temple, the Sun Temple. These are all constructed different temples of that time. Very good. Then we can see another important structure of that time is Jagannath Temple at Puri. You might have heard about Jagannath Temple. At Puri, it is at Puri. Jagannath Temple at Puri is another important temple of that time. It was built around the 12th century. Built in 12th century. Jagannath Puri Temple was built in 12th century. See, this is an important structure. These are important temples which were constructed in mainly in Orissa, the style of Nagara style. Now we come to some of the temple. Those were constructed some of the temples that were constructed in central India, in Nagara style itself. Some of them are Khajuraho Temple. You know Khajuraho Temple. It is located in, you know where it is, in Madhya Pradesh. It was constructed by the Chandala kings of Bundelkhand. So Khajuraho Temple, you know. So it was constructed during the 10th to 12th century. 10th to 12th century this temple was constructed. Chandala kings constructed the structure during the 10th to 12th century. Now, who has constructed Chandala kings? You must understand where the Chandala kings are ruling. They were ruling at Bundelkhand area of Bundelkhand. Bundelkhand area. They were ruling in Bundelkhand area. That is Chandala kings. They have constructed the Khajuraho temple. And this temple, you know, Khajuraho temple, the shikara is about 30 meters high. So how much height would be? You must think about it. And there are small shikaras surrounding it. That is about Khajuraho temple, you must understand. I think I have shown you, and I have shown the videos of first Khajuraho temple in that. So you must know it. Then we will go to Rajasthan and Gujarat. Some of other temples of that time which came into existence. Okay. We go to Rajasthan. You know where is Rajasthan? The map. You have seen the map. Student, you must be able to locate the places. This is Rajasthan, Gujarat, okay, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh. These are the important structures where the temples we are discussing. In all these areas, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, Puri, Jagannath Puri temple is here. Here it is. Puri is here. Madhya Pradesh, here it is. Then in Rajasthan there are temples, and in Gujarat there are temples. That's what we must understand. The temples that we were discussing about. Jain, you know, Rajasthan and Gujarat, they had Jains, the religious people who belong to Jainism. So there are Jain temples in those. Mount Abu and surrounding areas, we have got beautiful structures concerning the temples and religious beliefs. So there is a temple dedicated to Harihara. That's what we must understand, Harihara in Rajasthan. Then Jain temples built at Pratihara period are found mostly in Rajasthan and Gujarat areas. Mount Abu, Dilwara temple, we call it a Dilwara temple at Mount Abu. This Dilwara, it is all Jain temples, Dilwara temples at Mount Abu. This is Rajasthan. Dilwara temple at Mount Abu in Rajasthan. That we must understand. Then other temples are there. Then Sun Temple, Modhera. So all broken up. Many of the structures are not remaining. They have gone into pieces. Climatic conditions, the construction problems, all those things might have affected. A lot of changes have taken place. Now we will come to Deccan areas, mainly Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. They are the main Deccan areas that we are going to discuss. Okay? You must understand I am going fast. Once I have explained it, main structures, just once more. I am just briefing you the content of what we have discussed. Okay, so you know Rashtrakuta kings and Hoysalas, they were ruling mainly in this Deccan area. Rashtrakutas, when you come to school, you will understand there is a house named Rashtrakutas for us and Hoysala also. So these kings have constructed the structures in Deccan area. So we call Deccan architecture. In Karnataka, there are so many structures of Hoysalites, Halibedu, and many other places we can see. Kailashnath temple at Ellora, you know where is Ellora? Ellora is in Madhya Pradesh. Sorry, Ellora is in Maharashtra. So if you go to Ellora, you can see Kailashnath temple, carved out from a single stone. It's a stone, on stone a temple is carved out, temple is made. So naturally no need making roof, no need making pillars. The work is done to remove the particles or the areas which we don't want and make a structure. That is what is done at Ellora. So if you go there, we can find out this. So that construction was done by the Rashtrakutas, Lara temple at Kailashnath temple at Ellora. And in a single rock, carved out from a single rock, that is one must understand it, Ellora temple. See, the picture is given in the textbook. Then in Dwara Samudra, we have got at Halibedu. In Karnataka itself, there are temples constructed by the Hoysalites. Then we come to the main important temple, few constructions of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, mainly in Tamil Nadu. Many temples are constructed in Tamil Nadu. Their world famous structures are. That is Vimana, big structure, upward raised areas are. That we have discussed in details. I'm not going to discuss much about the South Indian temples. I have already discussed more about it. Still, here and there some discussions is needed for you. So that's Gopurams are there for South Indian temples, Vimanas are there. All those things we have already discussed. But you see, the Pallavas brought a new style of temple architecture, rock cut architecture and monoliths. Monoliths means what? Rock cut architecture and monolith both are around the same. Monolith means single stone. Mono means single, lith means stone. In a single stone, they carve out the structure. Monolith the stone architecture it is. Rock cut architecture means in a mountain area. A rock is there, very big rock. A mountain is, and there they cut the temple rock and make a structure as like a temple. You know, in our hilly areas we have got rocks. Cutting that rock, making a structure into a temple. Must understand how much effort was needed. When the architecture keeps the stone or shape the stone in that style he wants, he should be very careful. If he uses a little more force than it is needed, the structure will be completely destroyed. Disfigured it becomes. So how much care and effort is needed by the architecture to carve out such structures? That is what we must understand. And beautiful structures are constructed in South India by the architectures of those days. At Mamallapuram, we have got there. At the Kailasanath temple, we have got at Kanchipuram. Then Cholas have built beautiful temples at Tanjavur. In second chapter, you have seen Cholas were ruling in Tanjavur. So Cholas have built a beautiful temple at Tanjavur. Then Gangaikonda Cholapuram, there was another temple constructed by Chola kings, Rajaraja Chola. So these are some of the beautiful constructions. The Brihadeswari temple had Vimana, the raised platform area, around 66 meter height it is, that time. Modern period 66 meter is not a huge structure. We have Burj Dubai and still more bigger structures are being constructed by human beings. And human beings are trying to touch skies and heaven. That is a modern period. But at that time, there was no means to raise the materials to the top of the structure. So at that time, they have constructed a building which is 66 meter. It's a huge, you must appreciate, you must understand that. Don't think like the modern period we had. So it is a progress every time. If you go to ancient period, we may not find any building that is of 66 feet. So as the progress of the human beings, we develop. Progress in accordance with the situations, climate, architecture, learning. Changes are taking place. That change is part of it. That is a southern style. Then if you come to Vijayanagara and Hampi, if you are here in the school, you would have gone to Hampi and seen the things. Your touring destination was Hampi. So Hampi Some of you might have gone and seen the Hampi structures. That's all at medieval structure period. Beautiful. You see, all those work is mainly on stone. That we must do. Stone chariot is there at Hampi. The building, the construction, purely stone, you see, understand. And the chisel should be very carefully handled. Chisel and hammer and concentration of the person who makes it. That is important. Otherwise, the structure cannot be properly constructed. And the statues being constructed, Nadaraja statues. And you know, the wax technology of Nadaraja statues. You know what? How the wax technology, I think I explained to you once wax technology. If this is a statue which we construct, what they did, they make a clay shape of it. A wax shape, not a wax shape of it. After making a wax shape of it, what they do, they apply clay around it. Every part of it, they make a clay. Once they make the clay, first the exact shape of the statue, what they want, they make a wax statue. And the wax statue is covered with clay outside. Completely in the design. Everything will be there in the wax. Hand shape, face shape, eyes opened, eyes are covered, whatever they want, they make it in wax. Then they cover it with the mud or clay. Then they leave the clay statue from looking from outside in a place to dry up. After once it is dried up, they make a hole downside and heat the clay statue. When the clay statue is heated up, as they have made a hole downside, complete wax will come out. So wax is drained out from the clay statue. Now inside the clay statue it is empty, nothing is there. So what they do? They melt copper and other materials. And they melt the things together, tin and copper. And they cover the bottom one nicely. And then they pour that copper and tin, whatever they have melted together, mix it up, pour from the top of it. And they pour it till every nook and corner of that clay statue is filled with that liquid. Not water, you must understand, it's a metal. Metal should become water means how much temperature is needed, you must understand. High temperature it will be. And that high temperature material will be poured inside that structure, into that clay structure. When every nook and corner it has reached, and surface also they cover, and leave that structure for many days to dry up. And the copper and tin material, that our bronze structure, that is bronze that is inside, get it dried up. After everything is dried up, they feel it's very strongly packed and nicely dried up, they will remove the outer layer, that is clay. Nicely they rub it like this and remove completely. So when the complete clay is removed, you know that inside bronze, that is it is clear out. Then they polish it and the statue is green. See, that is the way the statue was made. You must understand the temperature of the bronze material, that should become liquid. Then only we can pour it inside. And they must plan it in a such a way that the clay should not break. And somebody touches the clay and clay is broken, finished, everything is over. So such a extreme care could be taken into that. And right then clean the bronze statue and sell it or keep it for public to. Such a beautiful way they have constructed. So that is what we must understand. Modern way we have got a machine, so mechanized systems are there. Now we know everything is done by machines. But at that time also they were using the bronze and making the statues with bronze. So that is what we must understand. Okay, so tomorrow we will see the Deccan and other structures, the Muslim architecture styles and things we will discuss tomorrow in details. Thank you very much today.